I think we need to break up, she said suddenly. I was stunned by her unexpected words. In my right hand, I was holding a diamond ring, and she was looking bitterly at it. What do you mean by breaking up, Emma? You told me you wanted to marry me. That's why I'm so sorry. I've fallen for someone else. I'm very sure that you'll find someone better than me, and someone who deserves that ring more than I do. I felt like crying, but nothing came out. The girl who just broke up with me had tears brimming in her eyes and a pained expression on her face. Goodbye. Her voice echoed into the distance. The alarm on my phone went off, and I woke up feeling tired. My name is Ryan. I got fired from my job last week. Lately, I keep having this dream. A dream where an old girlfriend of mine breaks up with me. It's been 10 years since that actually happened, and I thought I had moved on. Why now all of a sudden? Maybe because the fact that I was fired last week still hurts. When something bad happens, unpleasant memories come flooding back. Seriously, I can't believe there still are some companies that prohibit employees from working a second job. It was my fault, but anyway, that was why I got fired. For doing another job. But that was something I had to do, as it was like a passion for me. Well, what do you do? I went to a few employment agencies to sign up. After that, since I had some time in the afternoon, I went to my favorite cafe to eat pancakes and thought about a present for my girlfriend. Of course, not for the girl from the dream. Fortunately, I'd been blessed with a new girlfriend, and we'd been together for just over 3 years. Unlike when I was with Emma, this time I already got an answer to my proposal. I didn't want to be dumped at the very last minute like before. I noticed there was a new text message on my phone. I'll help you with the preparations tomorrow. I'll be there by 9 a.m. Love you. Reading the message, I smiled, remembering what my plan was for the next day. Okay, can't wait to see you. Love you too, I replied to the message, pulling myself together. The next day was her birthday, and also the day of my first solo exhibition. I rented space at an art gallery in a shopping district to display the jewelry I made. I started making jewelry in college as a way to relieve stress, but never expected it would reach the level where I could sell them online. Then that online business page was discovered by a colleague, and that was how my boss found out about my second job. Even though I lost my main job, I was making a decent income from my jewelry business, so I wasn't worried at all. I just never thought about making it my main job, but this exhibition might be a good opportunity to seriously consider that. With that thought, I felt even more motivated. The next day, when I arrived at the gallery, Sarah was already there, discussing with the person in charge and preparing for my exhibition. Ryan, you're late. Sorry, Sarah. I overslept a bit. I thought you were a morning person, Sarah said, her surprise making me feel guilty. I couldn't possibly tell her that I overslept because I had a dream about Emma. Just got lost in thought and stayed up late last night. Are you still worried about being fired? Yes, something like that. Don't worry about it. It is what it is. Now you can openly do what you love. To cheer me up, Sarah smiled warmly. For a moment, her smile reminded me of Emma's, which was making me feel uneasy. Wow, this ring is really pretty. Suddenly, while arranging the display items, Sarah spoke up. Following her gaze, I saw her looking at a diamond ring prominently displayed on the shelf. That ring brought back the painful memories of the past. That was the first ring I ever made. Really, it's so well made. It wasn't that hard, probably because I had been making other types of jewelry since my university days. Initially, I only made simple items like earrings and cufflinks for myself. It wasn't until I met my ex-girlfriend, Emma, that I started making jewelry with someone else in mind. I was seriously considering marriage with Emma. Wanting to gift her a ring, I began jewelry making in earnest. In the end, Emma never received the ring I made for her. I might want this one for an engagement ring. What? I froze at Sarah's words. The idea of giving my current girlfriend the ring I made for Emma felt so wrong. Although I loved Sarah very much, I kept dreaming about Emma. I still wondered why Emma looked so pained when she broke up with me. That thought made it impossible to forget her. We're running out of time. We need to finish setting up soon. True, Sarah's words brought me back to my senses. Having nearly finished arranging the display items, I also completed setting up the cash register. Looking at Sarah, I saw her again gazing at that ring. Was this the sort of ring Emma telling me about? I wonder. Sarah was only talking to herself. Muttering softly, Sarah noticed me standing silently and quickly came towards me. Wait, what did she just say? Was it just a coincidence, or did I hear it wrong? But either way, doubts began to surface in my mind. As the exhibition opened, many people, primarily my supporters on social media, gathered. The displayed jewelry sold quickly, and the ring Sarah liked also attracted lots of attention. Isn't that ring for sale? I'm sorry. This ring is for display only, and I have no intention of reproducing it. That's a shame. Each time I watched a customer leave, I thought about the dream I had the night before. When I decided to exhibit that ring, I thought that meant I had moved on from Emma. Yet since she appeared in my dream, all I could think about was her. Why can't I forget Emma? She dumped me after all. How much is this ring? It doesn't have a price tag. Another customer inquired about the ring, and Sarah, who was standing nearby, responded. I'm sorry, this is only for display and not for sale. It was made by Ryan for someone very special to him. We appreciate your understanding. She said politely to the customer. Did Sarah know about Emma and that the ring was originally intended for her? That fleeting thought from earlier returned. And for some reason, Sarah reminded me of Emma. Sarah, how did you know this ring was so special to me? Well, you always look so wistful when you look at it. There are other items that are not for sale, but it's obvious that this ring is something special, just by watching you, Ryan. Sarah answered, pouting, and seemed to be telling the truth. But why did she murmur her name earlier? Are you sure you're telling me everything? What do you mean? How did you know about Emma? What, Emma? You mean Emma, my cousin. How do you know about her? Your cousin. As we looked at each other in surprise, an elderly man approached and asked me, excuse me, how much is this ring? I was startled at first, but soon realized who that man was. Wait, this man is. He was Emma's father. As I visited her house several times when I was still going out with Emma, I knew her parents very well. Although I hadn't seen them since our breakup, and Emma's father had aged quite a bit, I knew straight away that it was definitely him. Oh, Sarah, Uncle James, what are you doing here? Before our surprise subsided, Emma's father and Sarah exchanged those words, surprising me even more. I needed to know what was going on, so I asked Emma's father if we could talk after the exhibition. He agreed to meet me at a nearby cafe. When our coffee arrived, Emma's father quietly lowered his eyes without drinking his. Emma passed away the other day. His words left me in utter shock, unable to comprehend. Sitting next to me, Sarah also widened her eyes, seemingly at a loss for words as well. What do you mean? What happened to Emma? My voice trembled as I finally managed to speak. She had a terminal illness. It started 10 years ago. The disease was already advanced when discovered, and the doctor told her that she wouldn't live long. That was why she broke up with you, lying about falling for someone else. I never thought Sarah would be dating you, Ryan. Was Emma suffering all this time? Choosing to break up with me so as not to involve me in her struggle with illness. I recalled the pained expression on her face when she said goodbye to me, suddenly making sense of it. Yet, it still didn't feel real. Next to me, stunned, Sarah slowly began to speak. I knew Emma was sick, but I never knew it was that bad, and she passed away. She fought for 10 years, initially given only 6 months to live. We informed your parents, Sarah, but it seems the news hadn't reached you. Sarah silently shed tears, and both Emma's father and I quietly thought of her. After about 5 minutes of silence, as Sarah's tears subsided, I asked her, "So are you related to Emma?" "Yes, we are cousins. Our homes were far apart, and with her health condition, I didn't get to see her lately, but we used to be very close like sisters when we were young." "No wonder you somewhat resembled Emma." "Do you think so? Our relatives often say that too." "Yes, they did resemble each other." A while ago, Emma told me about her old boyfriend she was still in love with. He made a ring for her, but she had to break up with him because of her illness, and didn't get to receive the ring. I never thought you were that person, honey. When I saw that ring earlier, I just wondered if the ring Emma told me about looked similar to that. Maybe Sarah sensed something when she was gazing at that ring. I was thinking that when Emma's father looked at me apologetically. "I came here today to ask you if I could borrow that ring to put in Emma's coffin." He showed me the flyer for my exhibition. "Emma never stopped thinking about you. She followed your social media, even secretly buying your jewelry under a friend's name. When she saw a photo of the ring on this flyer, she cried, asking me to put it in her coffin when she died." Why didn't Emma tell me? Hearing her true feelings from her father meant a lot to me, and I finally understood why she had to break up with me. But at the same time, I had an overwhelming sense of guilt when I thought about Emma suffering on her own all those years, and I had no idea what was going on. As Sarah's tears finally eased, mine began to flow uncontrollably. "When is Emma's funeral?" "It's scheduled for tomorrow. That's why I'm asking. I know it's a lot to ask, but I'd like to buy that ring off you. If that's not possible, could I borrow it so I could at least put it in her coffin during the funeral? I just want to fulfill her last wish." He looked at me earnestly. His beloved daughter passed away, and he came to see me the day before her funeral just to fulfill her last wish. I gripped Emma's father's hand firmly. "Please take it with you. I made it for Emma anyway." "Thank you." Tears spilled from his eyes as if something inside him had collapsed. The next day, Sarah and I took a taxi to the designated funeral home. I wonder if Emma will be happy with this ring. Of course, she will be. Sarah took my hand and squeezed it encouragingly as I voiced my uncertainty. In the inner pocket of my suit was the little case containing the ring. I was about to give it to Emma. Gripping her hand tightly, I finally reunited with Emma after 10 years. Long time no see. Emma, lying in the coffin, didn't say anything. Her body had become frail and thin, but her face hadn't changed since I last saw her. "I brought your ring today. Sorry for being late. From now on, this ring will stay by your side to protect you, so please, don't cry." I gently opened the ring case, and the diamond sparkled brightly inside. I took it out of the case and placed it in the coffin. Apparently, the ring couldn't be cremated with her. But Emma's father had negotiated with the funeral home to allow the ring to be placed in the coffin under the condition that it would be removed soon after the funeral. The funeral proceeded smoothly, and I was able to say my final goodbye to Emma. Emma is really gone. Yes, we won't see her ever again. Sarah, being Emma's relative, would be attending the cremation, but as a non-family member, I planned to call a taxi and leave. Sarah accompanied me to the taxi stand. "Are you sure? Not staying until the end? I've already said goodbye to Emma, and I have to go home. There's something I need to do." "What? Can you come to my place tomorrow? There's something I want to give you." She smiled softly, a bit nervously, at my words. "Yes, I'd be happy to. In my home workshop, there's a ring I've been making for Sarah. Originally, I planned to finish it on the night of the exhibition and give it to her today. Just to make it clear, though I think you know, I've been making a ring for you, and I only thought of you while making it. It felt somewhat embarrassing to say it out loud. Whether she knew my thoughts or not, she didn't hide her joy and held my hand tightly until the taxi arrived. As the taxi drove away, the scenery outside the window grew distant. "Goodbye, Emma." I wondered if she had ascended to heaven peacefully. For a moment, I became worried, but then I felt certain she was fine. Looking up at the blue sky above the smoke rising from the crematorium, I finally remembered Emma's beautiful smile, not the sad look from my dreams.